Incredibly, it appeared in the news this week that the Palestinian Authority is paying over $400 million a year in payments to families of terrorists, both alive and dead, who have committed heinous acts of terrorism and murder against Israeli civilians. This is up from last year. 347 million was paid, 56 million more, 7% of the gross budget, annual budget of the PA goes to paying people who have committed murder. The murderers of the Fogel family, young children, no matter what the circumstances. In fact, the more grotesque the murder, the more people are murdered, the more one is paid. An incredible fact of terror being rewarded in the most overt public way with such a significant part of annual budget. If a person is in prison for 3 to 5 years, almost $600 a month the family receives. If they've committed hard murder, it can be 5 times the amount. It can be almost $4,000, $3,000 to $4,000 paid per family. In fact, Bibi Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu, said it so succinctly in the powerful speech to AIPAC this week when he said, if the Palestinian Authority would spend more time investing in life and building life as opposed to rewarding death, the world and the Middle East would be very different. This, I believe, highlights one of the foundational and pivotal differences between the value of life in Judaism and that in extreme Islamic fundamentalism. And it connects directly to this week's special reading, Parashat Parah. What is the root of all spiritual contamination, known as tum'ah? We read about the paraduma, that a person has to purify themselves. And we read about it now because we're preparing for Pesach, where a person, in order to bring the very important Korban Pesach, which so much defines and expresses Jewish fate and destiny, in order to bring it, a person has to be in a state of spiritual purity. And incredibly, we see, says Rabbi Yehuda Levi in the Kuzari, echoing the words of many Jewish thinkers, that what is spiritual contamination, impurity all about? It's about a contact with death. The more contact with death that a person has, coming in at its may mate with the dead body or any contact with death, renders a person spiritually impure. And it's for that reason that Judaism so much celebrates V'chai Bahem. It is a celebration of life, a believing life. So much so that the spiritual pinnacle of life is Tahara, the vibrancy of life, living through the commandments. And the opposite, the antithesis of everything Judaism is about, is glorifying death, coming to regular contact with death, which indeed renders us spiritually impure. In conclusion, it is this great principle of the love of life, physical life itself, and the spiritual meaning to life, which is at the core of Judaism. Almost no commandments override the value of Pikuach Nefesh, the value of life. Yes, there are certain core ones, the Gimel Chamarot, the 3 cardinal sins, that are so foundational to what life is all about that they supersede physical life. But the vast majority of all of the commandments are really there to be a Torah Chaim, a celebration of life, trumping life itself, trumps almost all of the prohibitions in the Torah, in order that a person should be able to live and celebrate life. And it's our hope and prayer that just here as we are in the 70th year of the State of Israel, this great celebration of hope and of life and belief in the power of life despite all circumstances, our hope and prayer that our neighbors will stop celebrating, marking and commemorating death in so many different heinous ways and start celebrating life. And when they celebrate life along with us, there is no doubt that our region, and indeed the world over, will be in a much better and beautiful place. Shabbat Shalom.